Hey everybody, it's Kaylee. I wanted to come to you today with a short video on how to use FlipGrid in your classroom. So FlipGrid is a really great tool because your students can use it with basically anything, any subject area, any content that they're learning. FlipGrid just lets them record short videos up to 5 minutes in length based on a topic that you give them as a teacher. And you can add multiple topics in one big FlipGrid. So to help you understand a little bit more, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So to navigate to FlipGrid, you'll just go to this URL up here, flipgrid.com, and you'll come to this landing page. This is what your kids will go to when you give them a flip code. So that special code will send them to one unique FlipGrid where they can record their video answers to your topic or your prompt. So this will be where they enter their code, but right now they don't have one because we haven't set up your FlipGrid yet. So to do that, you have to go up at the top and click Educator Login. So this will open up where you can create an account. So if you have a Google account, you can log in with Google if you're a Google district, or you can log in with Microsoft if you're a Microsoft-based district. So that's what I'm going to choose today. I'm going to sign in with my Microsoft account. It's going to say that it needs access to do certain things, so you need to give FlipGrid that access since you need to create the account. So we'll hit accept, and then it's going to go ahead and log us in. We'll have to give some information about ourselves just as a basis for getting our FlipGrid account. So we can create these things. And then you have to check this box that says that you agree to all of FlipGrid's terms and their privacy policy. Click Let's Go, and it should create your first grid for you. So this landing page is where you can get started creating all of your FlipGrids. So FlipGrid has kind of their own language. So a grid, think of it almost as a house that can hold the different topics or the different subjects that you want your students to reply to. So we're going to create a new grid because right now we don't have any grids at all. So these are the settings for your big grid, like your house that's going to hold all of your other things. So we need to select what type of grid we need to create. So we have one that's for school email addresses. So if your students are old enough and they know how to log into devices using their school email account, then you can select this first option here. There's a second option, so if you have younger students or students that may not know how to log in with their email address yet, then it will generate a student ID list where they can scan a unique QR code and it'll log them in that way without having to type in their email address. The third option is for a public grid, and for that one your students have to be over 13 or 16 years of age, I believe, to get that one going. So I'm just going to say that my kiddos are old enough, they know how to log in with their school ID, so we're going to choose that type of grid for now. Then I have to name my grid. So remember, my grid is the big picture. So I'm just going to call this Urban's class, because inside of this one grid I can create what are called topics, and each topic can be on a different subject or a different area of our day. So I could create a math topic and a reading topic and a science topic all on this one grid. So I'm just going to give it a generic name. And then you can set a flip code for this grid. So it's going to automatically generate you a random one. You can try different names and it'll tell you right here whether or not that name is available. So the flip grid code that I put in is not available. So I would have to try something different. So maybe I could try this. It says that's available, so I can use that as my flip grid. It just helps me find my grid a little bit easier. And then I get to personalize it by putting in a photo. So I'm going to choose this one. Then this is where, since I chose the grid that has school email domains in it, I have to tell FlipGrid what my student domains are. So in our district, their email addresses end with this after the @ symbol. So that's what I'm going to put in, because this is going to limit it to only people who have this type of email account are going to be able to log in and create video responses on my FlipGrid. So that's what I have to put there. Whatever my student email address is, that's what will need to be entered in that box. And then we'll click launch. So now it's saying that my grid is ready. So you can always view this grid as a student and see what it's going to look like on their end. So we can do that just to kind of show you what it's going to look like. So when the kids come in, they're going to have to log in with their student account again. So remember, you may not be able to see that unless you have access to one of their students' accounts, but yours is going to look a little bit different from theirs. When they log in, they're just going to see a big green plus sign where they can add a video to one of your topics. So we're not going to be able to really see that because, again, we would have to log in as one of our students in order to do that. When I've got my grid created, so here's the picture that I chose, the name that I gave it, I can add co-pilots to my grid. So I can add another teacher to this account, this grid account, where they can come in and they can create topics and see responses. So that's what a co-pilot is. It's another teacher that's going to come in and kind of share responsibility of this FlipGrid with you. And then these are my topics. So it automatically gives you one topic when you create a new FlipGrid. And it's always called introductions. So you could leave that one on there if you want your students to get on maybe toward the beginning of the school year and introduce themselves, tell something about them. Then you can leave that one on there. I don't think that's going to be appropriate for what I want to do. So I'm going to edit this topic. So anytime you want to edit, you can click the little pencil and that's going to give you your options on what you can change about this topic. So we'll just call this one math prompts. You can add a tip to help your learners if you need to, but really I don't think that that's completely necessary. You have to select the amount of time that you need students to respond. So if you are giving them something simple to answer, it might only take them a minute to record their video explanation. Or if it's a little bit more in depth, you may need to give them up to 5 minutes. So you can go anywhere from 15 seconds up to 5 minutes for their response time. I'm just going to leave mine on a minute. And then this is the date that we've created our topic. So now we have to give some directions to our students. So complete your math problem set, then post a video to explain your thinking. So I want them to actually do their math work, and then they're going to come into this FlipGrid and they're going to explain to me their process that they went through when they were solving that math problem. This is video moderation, so this would be if you would like to review the student responses before they're posted to your grid, then you can turn that on. If you don't want to, if you just want them to be published as soon as the students finish their videos, then you can just leave that off. Generally, I turn it on just so that I can review the responses for appropriateness and things like that before other students see them. So I generally do turn that on. And then here's where you can either make your FlipGrid topic active, or you can freeze it or turn it completely off. So that just means that it'll either show up for the students and they can add a response to it, or you're going to just completely turn it off. And then you can also set a date for this to launch. So if you know that you're going to have a unit coming up and you want to go ahead and get your FlipGrid created, but you don't want it to go live for students yet, then you can select the date when you'd like for it to begin and end here. That way you don't have to worry about going in there the night before your lesson starts and trying to get all this set up in just one evening. You can schedule it in advance. Topic resource, it is automatically, because remember this is the topic that it created for me, it's automatically put in an image, so I can delete that if it doesn't have anything to do with my topic. And these are the options that you'll have when you create a topic on your own. So sometimes what I would like to do is add a video for my students so I can explain specifically what I want. So you can create a video of yourself and then add that to the topic. Or you can put a picture up there. Since it's a math topic, you may want to put that on there. You can add emojis to it. So you can kind of pick and choose what you'd like for it to do. We'll just go with some books for now. So that's just going to put that image on there. So really you can pick something that's just kind of descriptive, or like I said, you can upload a video or an image that kind of gives them a little bit more direction when they come to this topic. Topic attachments, that's if you needed to include something for them to look at, like maybe you wanted to attach. In this example, you could attach the math problem set here. You could give them a link to it, and then give that a title like, here is your problem set. So that way they have their problem set right there. They can find it really quickly before they start their FlipGrid video. So that's what you can attach here. And then this is where you can turn on or off the kind of fun parts that the students really enjoy. So at the end of their recording, the students can add stickers and drawings to their picture. So the students have to take a picture of themselves at the end, and that kind of shows as the thumbnail for their video. So you can turn on or off. They can put on like funny glasses or hats, or there are different animals that they can put in the background with them. So you can turn that on or off for your students. Students can also react to each other's videos, which makes it a little bit more collaborative. So you can turn that on or off here. And then you can see how many views each video has. So you can turn that on or off. These are just little toggle switches. You can set the links, whether they are available to just the general public, or if they're only private, or if really no one should be able to see it except for you. So there's your different options for viewing those links. And then you can also turn on replies to the students. So in addition to just reacting to the videos with like little emojis, the students can type out a reply to a certain video. So that again is very collaborative in nature. So they can give each other feedback. They can work together to do their explanation. So they can type out replies to each other. You can turn that on or off. And then you'll need to have video titles. So they can include a title for their video if this is on, or if you don't need them to include a title, then that you can just turn that off. So here's where you can decide what type of feedback you'd like to give. So you can give basic feedback, or you can kind of build your own kind of rubric for this and give them a little bit more specific and custom feedback. So that's just kind of how you want to give feedback to your students on how they perform on their FlipGrid. So once you get all of that finished, then this is going to become your new topic. So you have to come down and we are going to update this topic. Forgive me, it's right behind the camera on my screen, so it's hard to get to it down there. Let me see if I can move myself over. There we go. Okay, so now that my topic has been updated, it's changed all the information. So here is where I was talking about this could be a little bit more informative for your students. So now where it's just an image of some books, I could kind of put a video of myself up there explaining some directions for my students. So that would be kind of super helpful. Then this is what the educator side of it looks like, but the student screen, when they scroll down, they'll just see the FlipGrid Plus icon right here. So that looks like this little icon right here. So when they log in and they scroll down, they'll read all their instructions. Then they'll see that big, huge plus sign right here. So they'll just click that, and then it walks them through step by step what they need to do, whether they need to record their video. Then they get to kind of review what they've said. They can trim off like the beginning and the end if they made a mistake or something funny happens at the end of their video. They can trim that down. They get to take their selfie. They get to put the stickers on if you've left that as an option for them. And then once it comes in, if you've selected moderation, they won't see their videos or their classmates' videos right away. Those responses will come here on your dashboard first. Then you would have to approve them and set them so that they would go to the FlipGrid. Once you do that, then the students will be able to see each other, and then if you've left it on for them, they can add those reactions, they can add comments to each other. So this is your flip code. So again, remember, it's probably not going to let me in because I would have to log in as a student. But that right there is that code that your students would type in here. So when you have your grid set up, all you have to do is give your students this code, write it on the board, send it to them in an email, post it in your Google Classroom. All they have to do is type in that code, and then they are ready to go. So that's why this is so super simple. So you can, again, have as many topics as you need to. So this is all in our class, our big, huge FlipGrid. And then these topics, I can have a math topic. I could create another one for our reading assignments. I can create one for science. I can create one for morning time. I can create as many topics as I need to in my FlipGrid. And then remember, I can turn them on or kind of freeze them, make them inactive if I don't want students to write a response or video or response to that one at this point. So basically that's it. It's super easy. So once you get some student responses into your FlipGrid topics, then you'll see individual student responses coming through on your dashboard of your individual topic. And as they come through, each response will have one of these share buttons. So from there, you can get a link to share with their parents so that they can see the learning taking place in your classroom. You could share that link on your class Facebook page, in your classroom. You can share it with your administrators so they can see what your kiddos are up to while they're learning. It's just a great way to connect everybody that's involved with these students and their learning, so that they can all see the outcomes of what their efforts have done. So it's a really great tool for that communication piece as well between home and school and between your classroom and your administrator as well. I love FlipGrid because it allows those students to get so deep into their learning. They can just explain their thinking. They don't have to write out a big paragraph, a big long essay. It's more natural for the students. They can just explain what their process was, what their thinking is, and then it's so easy for you as the teacher to kind of see through that thinking. You can identify misconceptions really easily. You can see right away that a kiddo has really mastered that topic. They are an expert on it. They can tell you everything about it forwards and backwards. So I love it for that assessment feature because the students just think it's so fun. They get to record this video of themselves. They get to put all these funny stickers on. They get to collaborate with their friends and give reactions to each other. But really for you, it's an evaluation and they don't even realize that they're being assessed. They just think that it's fun. So I think it's a win-win for everybody involved. So hopefully this is something that you feel like you can use in your classroom, and I'd be glad to come and help you in any way that I could to get this started for you and your students. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or you'd like for me to come in. I hope this has been helpful to you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.